Hi, everybody. Bonjour. Hi, this is Neshi Lilkatz. Welcome to Communications from Home, which is my weekly live stream here at Star Nations. And I'm so glad to have you here with me and to be with you guys live because last week, I was out of town. And so I had posted a recorded video, which was still good. It's just I miss being with you guys. Yeah, there we go. All right. Hey, Rob, good to have you here. Yay. I'm the first one coming. Yay. All right, Rob, tell me if you can hear me, okay? Just do a quick sound check here just to make sure. And today's Tuesday. It is August 3rd. We're in the month of August. Holy smokes. Time is going by so fast, isn't it? Which we're going to talk a little bit about. And so tonight's topic is about making choices and making choices in the new energy field that we're in, right? And here get situated. Here's the thing is that, and we've all noticed this, right? We have all noticed this, and that is time is either going by really, really quickly, fast, or it's kind of like really slow. And you really don't even know what day it is, right? What day is it? That's what Paul and I were doing last week. Because it would feel like one day, kind of like, how Mondays have a certain feel to them, right? And Saturdays have a certain feel to them. And so we were saying, God, it feels like Monday, but it's Thursday kind of thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So yay. Thank you, Rob. I can hear you. Video is blurry. Really? Oh, okay. Here. I forgot to turn off Dropbox. That might help. Maybe. It's clear on my end. So hopefully, and the phone looks clear. So hopefully I turned off the Dropbox. So maybe that'll help. All right. So if I could ask you to do me a big favor, okay, because I forgot to share it out this afternoon. I should have done that after I did the live stream, and I didn't. So if you could do me a favor, if you could send the video over to a friend or somehow post it someplace else, it would really be helpful. And I am actually going to do the same thing. I am going to send it over to my personal page, and because I forgot to do that earlier. I'm going to send it over there right now. And we're going to send it over. Oops. Won't let me do that unless I'm posting as myself and not the organization. It's funny how it's persnickety like that. There we go. We're going to get that posted. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. And so, okay. So what we're going to get started with what we're talking about tonight. So here's the question that I asked in the promotion of it is, have you noticed that making your choices is different for you than ever before, or even just slightly different than before? And before could be definitely since a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Is making new choices easier or more difficult for you? Yeah, we're going to be talking about that because here is how we usually, okay, this is how we grow up, right? We're shown how to make good decisions, be a good decision maker, a choice maker, which path to take, right? And usually what you want to do is to kind of think it through, pros and cons. We've all used them, the pros and cons list, right? Which is good because we need our mental mind, our thoughts, but we also need to know about the feelings of it. And see, and I think that's the difference in the energy field that we're living in, is that if we're not including our emotions or our feelings into the decision making, we could have a rougher path. Okay, I'm going to change that. You're going to have a rougher path because we are remembering how to create with a balanced mind and heart. In other words, they're connected, right? And so if we discount one or the other, we're not balanced. We're not balanced. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I really would appreciate it, you guys, if you let me know if you are noticing anything different with your own decision making, your own choice making. Hi, Julie. Julie's here. Yay, Julie. Rochelle's here too. Hello, Rochelle. And Rob, of course, yeah, thank you. I showed that one. And he also said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Exactly. Yeah. An old axiom, right? Rochelle says it goes by very fast. It does. It does. And I know that, as we mature, as we get older, time does go by quicker, right? Because we're usually busier, right? Yeah. But I think that I've noticed in my life, okay, that it's like sometimes it's a blink of the eye. It's kind of like when we're at a retreat or we're at a class, right? And it feels like the morning is one day and the afternoon is the second day. And it's because we're gathering so much information, right? And we're experiencing so much. And we kind of lose track of what day is it. Yeah. I was just thinking about the last time I was at Olivet College in Michigan for the Great Lakes retreat. That was many years ago now. But that the feeling there is the same. I got the same thing, right? It's like, what day is it? It feels like we've been here for a week already, and it was only just a couple of days. It's because so much had been fit into a short period of time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Michelle. Julie said, loved and shared. Thank you. Even better. Hi, Deanna. Good to see you. And Amy's here too. Hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. All right. So, choices. And Rob actually kind of hit the nail on the head, so to speak, is that we make choices every day, many times a day. And even when we choose not to choose, that's still a choice that you just made, right? And when we're in the throes of that, sometimes because we're human, we tend to take the pause. We tend to procrastinate. We choose not to choose. We choose maybe something completely different that doesn't have anything to do with it. Because let me tell you, having a business out of your own home, your office out of your own home, man, you can find 1,000 different things to do that's not business connected, that has everything to do with your home, right? You can find lots of things to do instead of, say, bookkeeping or something like that. And so we still make a choice. We still make a choice. All right. So everyone, no matter if you're consciously walking, living your life, or you're unconscious about your life, right? Is that we're all making choices, small choices, big choices. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't matter if it's a small choice or a big choice, it affects your life, right? The flow of how you're living your life. Sometimes the smaller choices tend to make the bigger impact. Whereas the big choices, you think it's going to, and you ever get to the other side of it and you think, well, that was actually pretty easy. I was expecting more from that. Mm-hmm. Rob, I'm not human. I'm a cabbage in disguise. Well, it's a good disguise. Shapeshifter, right? Shapeshifter. All right. So have you found yourself recently, or maybe some other part of your time of your life in the past, feeling anxious about a decision or nervous about making a certain decision? The wringing of the hands kind of thing. Don't know which one to choose. The choice. And that's basically what I want to talk about tonight, is that piece. Because when you take into account where we're residing at energetically, right, is that most of us spend a good portion of our time in 4D, especially if you're a part of the community here at Star Nations. You are in 4D most of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes, depending on what's going on in your life, maybe you're kind of slipping a little bit into the higher third or the lower fifth, but and you're sliding back and forth. That's what the fourth dimension is all about, is to get us prepared, still learning, still remembering how to hold that higher frequency of love for longer periods of time. Okay. All right. So when we're making our decisions about our choices, when we're residing in 4D, we're affecting how time passes. Okay. When we're in the groove and we are making a choice and it feels good, we're connected to our emotions, we're very consciously aware of what we're doing, how we're choosing this, we've got the balance between the mind and the heart, time goes by really quickly because all the doors are starting to open. The universe is putting things into position for us to start realizing, okay, bringing into the physical plane and grounding that to the physical plane. And it's happening a lot faster. It's a lot faster. And sometimes it's a little disconcerting. It's a little disconcerting. I'll use an example. Good friend of mine, Minnie Kansman. You guys know Minnie, right? Minnie, she and her husband made the decision to purchase a home, a house. They're out in Colorado. And once they made that decision and to put their condo up for sale and went house shopping, it was difficult out there because it was during the time when housing sales were just astronomical and things were going homes were going so fast, right? Being sold like that. Okay, so Minnie is sharing that with us sisters, and it really felt like the one day they made the decision, the next day the house was purchased and they were moving. It happened so quickly. It happened so quickly. Now, because of the energy field and everything, the chaos that's happening out there in the 3D world, is that, and some of the four, it wasn't quite like that experience for them. But for those of us that were standing and being the witness to it, it was like quick, 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 quick. They're moved in. She's already planting plants in the new gardens. It happened so quickly. Okay, good example, right? Now, the thing is that even if you believe that you are a spiritual being first and a human body, right, having this experience, even if you believe that, sometimes what happens is that our mind and our hearts are kind of out of balance. They're not quite synced up. Okay. Even if you've gone and did all the classes, like journey of remembering classes with me, even those things, sometimes it gets out of sync. Why? Good question, right? Why? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. All right. So when you have a choice to make, and it scares you because it's really going to change your life, you know it, you feel it. You may have even had conversations with your spiritual team, with your higher self about it already, and you still haven't made the choice. You're anxious about it. You're nervous about it because there's a part of you, your belief systems, which is all mental thoughts, right? That kind of get in the way, becomes blocks to your movement forward into that choice. You are anxious about it because you're creating kind of these scenarios in your mind, right? That you have to do maybe, 3 or 4 major things before you can actually finalize that choice. Really? Maybe not. All right. So your mind, your thoughts, your ego actually is out of sync with your soul self. So Carolyn Meese, you guys know Carolyn Meese, right? She kind of put this in a way the other day of like a tug of war. Remember that old, I want to call it a game, but it's not, right? It's because they even do it in certain adult events and that sort of thing. A tug of war. They have that big rope, and you've got, people who know what they're doing usually on either end, and they're trying to pull the other group of people over a certain line. And so they're tugging on this rope back and forth. And so that is a good analogy or good picture, right, of that conflict that we have within ourselves of making this choice. So your ego wants to go in one direction, maybe stay someplace with something because you're used to it, right? You've maybe it's a job, or it's in your career, but maybe you are making a decision whether or not you should apply for another position, or maybe it's leaving that job, or something like that. Okay. So you're in conflict. Your ego wants to go in one direction, and your soul, who's leading this whole experience, is saying, we're going to be over here. This is where we need to be to have a certain experience, right? Okay. So as Carolyn was describing this, she says, you get tired. You get fatigued. Your muscles get fatigued because you're pulling on this rope, and one of those teams is going to lose because they can't hold on to that momentum of the rope. Their muscles become fatigued. And so we do the same thing when we're in conflict and trying to make a choice, a decision. When we're conscious beings, right? We know that our soul is leading this whole experience. That human part of us, that ego part of us, still wants to have some control. And that is the conflict. That's the conflict. And when I took some time to kind of, sit with this for a little bit, because it really, I thought, oh, that's interesting. That really is interesting. I want to sit with this for a little bit. So as part of our vacation, our RV camping, I was sitting with this thought. And it kind of reminded me of how energy can be bent. What do I mean? Okay. So if you're in a classroom setting and the teacher, no matter what teacher it is, your teacher has the class's attention, right? Everybody is paying attention to that teacher. And you may have an informal leader, or maybe even a different teacher, come into the room, and they start sharing the topic from their perspective, right? And so now the students are all putting their attention to this other person. That's bending energy. You can literally see it. You can feel it. being diverted. Okay. All right. So when I was thinking about this and saying, oh man, okay, so if we believe that our soul has access to all the information needed, right? At a soul level, we already know. We already know. And our ego self, that part of us that we call the human part of us, wants to do it differently, wants to go in a different direction or stay in the direction that they're in, right? And so you have this imbalance. We have this inner conflict going on. And eventually what happens is the ego will get fatigued, will get tired. Sometimes it's physically tired. Sometimes you can literally feel your energy being drained, right? When you think about the choice that you have to make, the choice that you should be making, or the choice that is being presented to you, and your mind goes over in that direction, you feel tired. It's like, oh, geez, I can't do that today. I don't want to do that today. I'd rather go do something else. And so sometimes we procrastinate it, right? We know it's still out there. We procrastinate about it. And we don't make the choice. We don't make the choice. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever experienced that? Rob is saying, because we are. Because we are what? Cabbages. Okay. Because we are cabbages? Oh, I see. Because we are cabbages. Maybe on some planet. Maybe on some planet. Okay. So I just want to check my notes because there was so much going on with this. I want to make sure I stayed on track. All right. So the choices that seem difficult or they drain your energy, what we need to do is kind of look at that. Okay. You need to kind of ask why. Why am I feeling like this? Talking to your spiritual team. What's going on here? Because maybe within that, there's a hint or that trigger. What does that mean for you? Because even though it feels like it's a negative thing, right? It has a tremendous amount of soul growth in it. Tremendous amount. Because sometimes there's something that's still another layer of healing that has to occur. Yeah. Another layer of something. Or perhaps it's just not in divine timing. That when the right time is presenting itself, that's when you start moving forward with that choice. Okay. Now here's the thing is that when you're in conflict, that inner conflict is that divine timing could present itself and your ego self says, nope, I'm staying here, or I'm taking this left hand side, or the different choice. Not making a choice is a choice too. So if you miss that divine timing, here's the thing, is that it's going to come around again. It's going to come around again. It's not like you only have a one-way ticket. There's many paths, and there's lots of opportunities and experiences on all paths, no matter which one you take. Sometimes we take the more scenic route, and it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to that place in your soul's growth that you need to be at a certain time. You're still going to get there. You're still going to get there. You're just going to have a lot more experiences. You're going to have maybe lots more opportunities to do some more healing, if that's what you need. But if you take advantage of the opportunity of that divine timing when it comes to you, and you make the choice, then you're kind of riding in the faster lane. You see? It's because you're balanced. The energy is flowing unimpeded. There's no blocks. And so that's when it feels like time is happening so quickly. Things are happening fast. All these synchronicities are going on, right? It's because your soul is in sync with your ego, or maybe I should say that the opposite. Your ego is in sync with your soul, right? Does that make sense? It did to me. It did to me when I was kind of going over this whole thing. So when can identify that, oh man, I don't want to make that choice, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to wait. Yeah, there's things we can do in the meantime to use all our clairs. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you are using all your senses, all of them, not just your 5, but all of your 6 senses too. Because remember, we have access to all of the clairs, all of them. Now we have a primary and a secondary for sure, right? But when you are consciously awake, all the synchronicities can come to you in many different ways. And it's just to be open to that communication, that conversation that you're having with spirit. Yeah. All right. Hey, Cindy. She says, lessons to learn. Yeah. That's why we're here though, right? That's why we're here is to get that soul growth. Rob says, I've been home sick today with aches, fatigue, and stomach problems. It would have been 2 days, but I was dragged in yesterday. Oh man. Oh, and it's not easy to be ill when it's summertime, you know? It's no fun. It's no fun being sick anytime. But in the summertime, double, right? Double. So I'm sorry to hear that, Rob. Yeah. We're going to touch on a little bit. So maybe something will kind of go, for you. All right. Cindy is saying we live in spiral time. Yes, we do. It's not linear, is it? It's not. It's a spiral. All right. So we can use our clairs so that we can determine if there's another layer of healing that's needing to wait for that divine timing. Or more importantly, is to acknowledge if there's a conflict, an inner conflict, right? The reason why I don't want to make that choice right now is because I like what I'm doing right now. I want to stay in this. And your soul is telling you that is calling you to do another path, another choice. And so you have that inner conflict. Just acknowledging it is going to help you feel lighter. Now it doesn't resolve anything, but it helps you to understand that, okay, this is where I'm at right now. Because you're not going to stay there. You're just not. All right. So so when you're living your physical life consciously, you're listening to your soul's guidance, right? Some might call it you're living within spiritual guidance. When you know the difference between listening to your soul and only using your mind or your ego to make a decision, because we can feel it. When we're awake beings, we know when it's only our mental mind, because you don't feel your soul in it. Yeah. When your soul's in it, it has a completely different feeling to it. So, and here's the thing is that we're gifted by spirit, by the creator, because we have all kinds of assistants helping us all the time, all the time. And just because we didn't make that choice today in the opportunity that came to us, an opportunity is going to come to us again, maybe in another form, and definitely at another time, but it's going to come back around. And so we have another opportunity to make a choice. It happens all the time. Happens all the time. It reminds me of something Ed Langen said in one of his shows, because people were, when he would do readings, someone would always ask them about, the guides would ask them about their jobs. Should I stay in this job or should I take a different job? Right. And Ed would channel his guides and they would say something like, is to try it on. What does it feel like? Even if you choose it and you realize that was not the best choice for you, you can always choose again. You can always choose again. So it's only in our human ego mind that we set up these blocks for ourselves, that it can only be one way. Right. Yeah. In my notes here to myself, we're taking advantage of the opportunities when they come, right? And making those choices. Eventually, what spirit does for us is that it provides the opportunity that we call the cosmic 2x4. And we've all experienced that. Some people call it the dark night of the soul, right? And we've all experienced some aspect of that in our lives, probably more than once. And so when it comes to choices, eventually our ego will surrender to the soul. And so when you make that choice to follow our soul's path, that you're going to feel a lot better. It's going to feel lighter, happier. And one of the things that spirit does for us is it sets up certain energy fields for us to take advantage of, and we have one right now, the Lion's Gate. Right. Julie, I'm sure Julie Hedges has written about it. I haven't really been on Facebook all that much in that last week. So, and I'm sure she has. And the Lion's Gate, right, is a time where we're having so much higher frequency energy being sent to us, helping us, preparing us for our next leap in consciousness. Is that if you're waiting on choices, right now would be the great time to take advantage of the opportunity to make a choice, to follow your soul's path. Yeah, because the spirit has this enormous energy field assisting us right now. That next leap. Here's a piece that I thought was being human. Okay, being human. Wait, I want to see what Rob says here. I've just recently learned to discern gender from shade. No, this sounds beyond me. It's not. It's not beyond you. It isn't. I know you quite well, I think. Yeah, you're there. All right. So here's another piece is that when you are waiting to make that choice, to make that movement into that choice, right? How do you know when what is the difference between waiting for divine timing and procrastinating? How do you know the difference? So this is what I got. Sometimes waiting for divine timing can be rough because it is. We get impatient. We as humans, we want to forge ahead. We want to move forward and as quickly as possible and get to the finish line as quickly as possible. Right? That's what we like. That's what we want. We're used to fast foods going through that drive-through. Immediate satisfaction, right? We get into let's get the show on the road. And so we push. We want to take control of it and we want to push through it. Give me a roadblock. I'm going to find a way around it. I'm just going to push right through it. Yeah. Now I've done it. I have. When I was sitting there with this, thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, I have, I can remember and it's a belief system. Once you start something, you got to finish it. So in our minds, we've started it. We made the decision. Let's get going. Let's do this thing. Now we made that decision, but we may have some roadblocks in the way. Things that are completely out of our control. Like the furnace goes out. Summertime, air conditioner's out and it's 90 degrees out, okay? Or 100 degrees out. Something happens to the car. There's a financial outlay that you are not expecting, right? Or maybe it has something to do with family. Maybe there's, somebody in your family needs you to be with them. And so you have to kind of put things down for a little while to go help. So you're completely out of your control. Now you could tell that family member no, you could, but chances are you won't. Chances are you're going to go. Or maybe you have unexpected guests. Yeah, you have friends or relatives coming from out of town, and now your energy has been diverted, right? Or Rob, you become ill. Adrenal fatigue, right? Diabetes. Something comes along that diverts you from your intended choice. And it's out of your control. So how can we tell if we're meant to wait for the divine timing or if we're in conflict? We're out of balance between our ego and our soul. Because basically, both scenarios causes stress and anxiety. It does. If we're waiting for divine timing, we're antsy. We want things to get going. Come on. We start to pace. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right? And when we're in conflict, that choice that's coming up and we don't even want to look at it. It causes us, sometimes it causes us emotional pain because maybe, your choice to leave a job for another job or to move means that you'll be leaving friends behind. And so you don't want to make that choice. So our emotions and how we feel can be an indicator for this. When we are to wait, we may feel like we need to do this, because it's still the ego and humanist thing. The humanness to push forward. We may feel excited about our decisions and the energy to put toward the decision, yet the experience isn't flowing. So, how are you feeling about that? When you made your choice, what did you feel? Was it excitement coming from that heart excitement, or was it the excitement coming from an ego excitement? Right? When we're in conflict between our soul's choice and our ego's choice, it can bring on that feeling of that energy drain, that fatigue, that tiredness. We can get diverted so easily. Our attention can easily get pulled away. It doesn't even have to take much for us to go, oh yeah, let's go over there and do that. See, for me, that's the difference between the two. When we're waiting for divine timing, sometimes we are in that integration time. It's almost like a plateau. We're in kind of a holding pattern, right? And so, depending on how long it takes us to integrate our last soul growth spurt, maybe that is the divine timing that we're waiting for, so that we are in the best position in our whole being, in all of our bodies, to make that next movement forward, rather than our mental mind making the choice and we're pushing it, right? So we're out of sync with divine timing. It might be the right choice, but it's the wrong time. And when we're living in 4D, that that wait can feel like a long time. And and technically it's not. It's not. Because as soon as the divine timing hits and you've made the choice, you're going to start moving forward really quickly. I get ANSI times 12 all the time at work. Uh-oh. I don't know what that means though, Rob. What's ANSI times 12? To the 12th power? Cindy says, yes, inner peace. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, thank you, Cindy, for adding that, because one of the things that helps us get through either scenario, really, the waiting or the conflict, is the inner peace, is the things that can help us get through it, is meditation, even if it's just 5 minutes, right? Is the meditation. It is journaling, automatic writing. It is going out in nature. All the things that we already know still work in this situation. Yeah. Talking to our spiritual teams, asking them for clarification. Or while I'm waiting, am I in divine timing? Wait, am I in the plateau, the integration time? What can I do in the meantime? What's the best thing for me right now? Right. And so sometimes, and I've gotten this lots of times, relax. You're rejuvenating, recalibrating, just relax. Recuperating, relax. Your highest priority right now is to relax. And so being in that divine timing, yeah, getting into that peace, right? And it works for both of them. Because if you're in conflict, the meditation, the walking out in nature, listening to certain kinds of music will put you in a vibration, right, that is at peace. And so you can hear, you can feel, you can sense, you can see what your soul is calling you toward. Now, I'm talking about this like we're separate pieces, and we're not. We are a whole being. And so when I say that our soul is calling to us, it's calling to our human mind. Come here. Come here. I want to show you something. Going in this direction so that we have this next experience. Yeah. Getting closer to the things that we've wanted, to be able to use our gifts, to be able to be of service, to have fun and joy in our lives. Right? That's it. Rhymes with antsy. Oh, I get it. Thanks, Rob. Okay. All right. So, and here, just from experience, and I'm sure some of you have experienced the same thing, is that once you've waded through the divine timing and you've already made the choice and you start moving forward, you can feel how you're in the flow, right? And when you're in the flow, it feels good, right? When you're in the conflict and your ego self surrenders to your soul self, there is also a sense of peace and freedom, a lightness, because sometimes it feels like this huge weight has been lifted off of you. All right. And so the creative energy then starts to flow, and you find yourself in a place that you manifested. Because this is stuff that we've been working on for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. And so when I was getting a show prepped, I pulled out the one piece that I've been carrying around with me for months and months and months now. And that is remembering we are our soul. That our soul is comprised of our emotions, thoughts, and physical body. Believing we are our soul. We are a whole being. I remember that meditation I was in, and I was it was right at the very end of a meditation, and I was asking my team while thanking them for being with me in the meditation, and I said, so, is there something that you would like to share with me, that would help me to be, clear about what I'm going through right now? And they clearly said to me, imagine that you believed that you are your soul. Imagine what it would feel like, right? Sense it in your whole being, in all your bodies. What will that feel like if you believed you are your soul? And so when we do that and we believe it, we make that conscious shift, that the conflict between our ego self wanting to go in one direction and our soul self wanting to go in a different direction becomes less and less, and we actually recognize it. When we acknowledge it, then we can start making those movements to get into balance, to get back into sync. so that we are that whole being, not this fraction, right? Yeah, there you go. So, making the choice. So whatever it is that you have been sitting with for a while, maybe, or maybe it just came up for you, making a choice, that kind of choice that is going to be life-changing choices. Because we're all there. Oh my gosh. The whole world spent a whole lot of time going through that inner work back in 2020, right? And so here we are, 8 months in to 2021. And, if you're listening to any of, the spiritual leaders out there, or even if you're getting your own personal indications from your spiritual team, there's going to be some major shifts going on this fall and this winter. And so we're all remembering what it's like to hold a higher vibration so that we can make that full movement into 5D, right? And so this is the opportunities that are with us right now. Lots of soul growth is going to happen. Yeah, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you. All right, we got a couple of minutes here. I want to show you guys something way off topic. Okay, way off topic. All right, so that Paul, I and Georgie were RV camping last week, and we were out on lots of hikes. Well, Paul and Georgie were. I went on a few. And there was this one hiking trail that took you down to the beach. And I was taking some pictures. It is the woods there, lots of old wood grow, a lot of trees, old trees. And we were coming up the trail. And it was the way the sun was coming down through the trees. I thought, oh God, that is so pretty. And so I took a picture. And this is the picture. Now I'm going to give it a solo so you guys can really look at this. Now, we were just coming up. This is a gravel road trail going down to the beach. The beach is probably a quarter mile or so from where this is at. And I know I was shooting into the sun, so this could be some sort of phenomenon, shooting into the sun, right? Taking a picture, looking into the sun. But do you see that down near the bottom of the picture, that kind of lime green, iridescent green something? Rochelle's asking, did you bring your drone? Hey, I did get your message about the drone, about you and Deb having that conversation. I was going to give you a text back tomorrow. Actually, no, I didn't, Rochelle, because where we were at, there's no Wi-Fi, or cell service was pretty sketchy. And yeah, I need to run the drone using my iPad for the camera and stuff. So no, so I didn't take it, not this trip. Yeah. So Deanna, you see it, right? So for those that are technically inclined, you can do a screenshot of this picture and do me a favor, take a look at it and blow it up an orb. I kind of thought it was, but when I blew the picture, enlarged it, it's not an orb. It's not an orb. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It looks like it's carrying like a ladder, a miniaturized ladder. So it looks like to me when I enlarged it really, 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 really big on my laptop. But I I'm going to actually send it to my brother-in-law, who's a photographer. He's a professional photographer, and teach me a little bit of something. It could be something coming, because of the direction that I was taking the picture into the sun. It could be a reflection of some sort from I don't know. And it's just using my phone. It's not like I have a 35 millimeter camera or anything like that. It's just my phone. So I don't know what it is. Yeah, I've taken pictures where it's been out of focus, and when I blew up the out of focus picture because there was a bright spot or a light spot in it. This was back in 2007, I think. When I enlarged it, you could because it was I was taking a picture of it was a cardinal nest, and the babies, I think they were eggs, maybe they were already hatched. Anyway, when I enlarged it, I know what it was. It was one of the babies were sitting just on the edge of the nest. They weren't quite fledgling, and when I took a look at it, what it was it was a spirit being. I want to call it a fairy. I'm not really sure that's what it was, but it you could literally see face, body, and it was right next to the baby bird. So that was the feeling I got when I first saw this picture, is that this some sort of nature something. I'm going to show the picture to Minnie as well, and see what she has to say about it. But yeah, it'd be interesting if you guys have any idea once. And I'm encouraging you to download the picture or take a screenshot of the picture, and let me know what you find out, or the information that you get from your spiritual teams, what it is. Yeah, I think I kind of caught somebody, yeah, walking or making their way into the foliage there. That's what I did. So I'd appreciate it. It's something to talk about, huh? All the phenomenons, right? Don't you like that word, phenomenon? All right, we're going to take this off. There we go. And I just wanted to thank you guys for being here with me this evening. I do appreciate it. I hope the conversation, the things that I shared, was helpful in some way. And if you have any questions, please put them into the comments and tag me or let me know that it's there, because otherwise I won't see it. And, we can continue the conversation. So next week is August 10th, Tuesday. And I don't know, guys might have a recorded video. I'm not sure how the Wi-Fi is going to be in the area that I'm going to be at, or the cell service until we get there. It's in the Baraboo Bluffs. And sometimes because I'm familiar with that area, sometimes the signal is really good because you get up high enough and it's pretty good. And other times you're kind of in the valley and you get nothing. So we're going to test it out next week. Okay. All right. So enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening, and we'll see you back here for Communications from Home. If not next week, then August 17th. Okay. All right. Bamamina. You know what that means in Potawatomi. Until we see each other again. I love you guys.